Hello students, welcome back to next episode of Mastery in Commerce. Today we are going to start chapter 2 of statistics, which is collection of data. So in the previous chapter we had an introduction about the subject of statistics. This is the next chapter in your book collection of data, which basically tells you that what are the processes or the steps taken to collect a certain kind of data which is going to help us to study the situations in the economy. So let's go. Again, before going ahead, we have to understand the meaning of certain terms. So these terms will continuously keep on coming on different pages of your book. So once you understand them, that what are the meanings of these terms and why they are used in relation to stats and economics, so it will become easier for you to understand. So the first term which is often used is variable. As we know, variable comes from the word varies. So the values which are collected from year to year and recorded are not the same. So they vary. Due to this, they are called variables. So variables are basically the collection or the numbers which keep on varying from one year to another, or whatever comparison we are doing. Suppose from this month to last month, from last month to previous month. So the variables keep on changing. Data, it is a tool which helps in understanding problems by providing information. So whatever information we have got, it is a data for us. It is a concept which comes in our knowledge, and then we study it and analyze it and try to interpret and make policies. So data is very important tool whenever we are studying stats. Now data is classified into two types. So there are two types of data: primary data and secondary data. Primary data is the first data, or the data which is directly collected from the person who is providing it. The definition which you have to learn, because this is very important. This often comes in exam. What is the difference between primary data and secondary data? Primary data is the researcher when collects the data by conducting an inquiry. Such data is called primary data. It is based on first hand information. Means you are directly collecting the data from the provider. There is no one in between to interpret it or to provide us. Next is secondary data. If the data has been collected and processed, means scrutinized and tabulated by some other agency, they are called secondary data. These are collected from government reports, documents, newspapers, books written by economists, etc. So if I am taking the book of an economist and I am trying to gather the information from there, so that becomes my secondary data. Means I am not the person who is directly collecting it from the provider. I am depending on the data which is given to me by some other party. So that is called secondary data. Now the word survey is also seen again and again. So meaning of the word survey is it is a method of gathering information from individuals. So when I am going to collect the data outside, so means I am going for the survey. This is often done by government agencies. You might have seen that people come to your house door saying that we are collecting, we are doing a survey, we are collecting the data of so and so department. So that is a survey. Now, to do the survey, certain kind of questionnaires have to be prepared. Means whenever you are going to collect the data, you should be aware of what all questions you are going to ask the person, and what are the rules you have to keep in mind whenever you are preparing a questionnaire. So questionnaire is basically a method of collecting the data, means a way in which you get the information from the informer. So while you are preparing the questionnaire, there are certain points you have to keep in mind. The first point is it should not be too long. It should be easy to understand and not have difficult words. If the person who is reading it, maybe that person is not so good in vocabulary or English, so the questions and the words which you are using in the question should be very simple. It should be very simple English. It should have arranged questions, means a question should also go in sequence. It should not happen that we are talking something randomly in the questions and which is not related to each other. Series of questions should move from general to specific. Means first you ask the general questions and then you move on to specific questions. Then the person will not be so hesitant to fill it or answer it. So questionnaire, these rules if you follow, you can prepare a wonderful questionnaire and get the maximum information from the informer. Now there are certain ways of collecting the data. There are certain methods which are followed. They all have their merits and demerits. First of all, being positive, let us focus on the merits. So ways of collecting data, we are discussing about the three ways, which are personal interview, mailing questionnaire and telephone interview. So personal interview, as the name tells us, when we are personally talking to a person, or the researcher is talking directly to the person and getting the answers. So this is like personal connection with the person. So if the researcher has access to all the members, this method is used. Means if you can directly contact them, or you meet them in the daily basis, then you can opt this method of collecting data. The merits which are of this method are: the interviewer has the opportunity of explaining the study and answering the queries of the respondent. So respondent, if is not understanding the question, then the person who has framed the question is directly in front of him. He can get his queries clear. The interviewer can request the respondent to expand on answers which are important. So it is quite easy to communicate and you can raise your queries. Misunderstanding and misinterpretation can be avoided. So whenever you are in direct communication with a person, you can always uh, get the clarification, you can get the clear idea. Next is mailing questionnaire. Now over here, please be careful. This is not sending an email. This is sending a letter through mail. Okay, the post office mail. So mailing questionnaire is sent through mails. It is not email, right? So the merits are: it is less expensive. As we know, our postal service is not so costly. And in the remote areas also, you can send the letters, they will reach there. Then does not influence the respondent by the interviewer. Means if you are standing in front of a person, maybe the other person gets influenced by you or tries to impress you, but when you are sending or mailing a questionnaire, then that influence is not there. Give sufficient time to respondents to think and give answers. So when you send a questionnaire through mail, then the respondent can just read the question and think over it. In personal interview, very limited time is there where the person has to give you answer immediately. So any random answer can be there. So it reaches to more specific detail. Now, telephone interview. This is the process to collect the data by talking over the phone. We are talking about landline, we are not talking about mobile. So, over here, when the person has a landline, you can call that person and take the interview. Now, this is cheaper than personal interview because you can just call a person and take the interview. Questions can be clarified over the phone. Respondents can answer to the questions which they don't like to answer in personal interview. So sometimes there are questions which make a person uncomfortable and he or she doesn't like to answer in person interview. But when you are talking over the phone, that person may feel comfortable and answer it properly. So these are the three ways and these are the merits. So while you're preparing your notes, these slides can help you. You can just take the printout and use them as the notes. Now, all the three details which we have seen in the previous slide, there are certain demerits also of all three of them. So, personal interview, the demerits are: it is expensive because when you're meeting a person, that person may charge money, he might ask you for different timing or different fees, which may be expensive for you. And also, the interviewer should be a skilled person, he should be able to take the interview in the proper way. So you will obviously hire a person who will charge some fees. It takes longer time to complete the survey. So sometimes personal interview takes longer time. Presence of interviewer may hinder saying the reality, which I told you that when an interviewer is standing in front of you, so maybe you hide the reality or you get influenced by the interviewer. Then mailing questionnaire, demerits are: there is possibility of misunderstanding and clarification of instructions cannot be given. You know, when you're sending a mail, a person cannot ask the query if he has, or he may understand the question in a different way and answer it differently. Then more chances of not filled questionnaire, not returning it at all, or loss of questionnaire in mail, etc. So these all possibilities are practically there, possible in any of the countries. It is not there in our country only, but many people are not interested to fill the questionnaire. They just take it as a normal pamphlet and throw it in the dustbin. So there are chances that you will never get it back. Now, telephone interview demerits are: uh, the most biggest problem with telephone interview is very difficult to contact the people who don't have the telephone. And nowadays, in the time when mobiles are used, many people don't have the landline at their home, right? This is a very common term which you will be seeing here and there whenever collection of data is going on, that is pilot survey. Pilot survey means pre-testing of the questionnaire. This is actually undertaken to check the shortcomings and drawbacks of the survey. So pilot survey is kind of test where you put a kind of test and you see whether whatever questionnaire you have prepared is proper or not. The merits of pilot survey are it helps us to understand the suitability of questionnaire, whether it is fine or not, to check whether the instructions are clear or not. If a person is not able to answer the questionnaire properly, then changes can be made. How much time and cost will be consumed when actual survey will be conducted. So you can find out that how much are your expenses, whether they are going beyond your budget, then you can limit the questions or you can think about the proper method of conducting the survey. So these are the merits. As we are doing collection of data topic, so there is a concept of census or complete enumeration. Census is basically done by the government agencies in which they collect the data of the population. So census includes every element belonging to the population. Census method is a method of data collection in which observations of all the units in a population are taken into account. Like the surveys or the census collected by the government are examples of birth and death rate, literacy rate, employment, life expectancy. They are collected and published by the Registrar General of India after every 10 years. So these are the census data collection which is done by our government. Now, in a country like India, where the population is so huge, it is very difficult to practically take collect the data of whole population. So there is certain method of sample collection followed by the data collection centers. So to study the whole population is practically impossible as samples are selected from the population to get the information required. So sampling methods are used. There are two methods of sampling. One is random sampling and the other is non-random sampling. Let's see their meaning. Here we have two methods of sampling. Random sampling means it is a method of sampling in which every item in the group has equal chance of being selected. It is also called a lottery method. So in which all the slips or the names of the people are kept in a box and then the names are taken out. So every sample has an equal chance of being selected. Non-random sampling is a method of sampling in which all the units of the population do not have an equal chance. It depends on the investigator to choose the samples according to his convenience or judgment. So like it is in an apartment there are 30 flats. So randomly they will take any two flats. It is not like there will be numbers of all the flats and then they will pick up the slip. It is like they will go to any two flats and collect the data. So it depends on the investigator where he wants to collect. So non-random sampling, there is no equal chance of getting selected. But in random sampling, there is an equal chance of getting selected. This is again very important from this chapter because the difference between random and non-random is often asked in the exams, or they may based you a they may give you a question on case base, or they can give you a situation, they can ask you that tell what method of sampling is being adopted or what are the benefits of this, what are the disadvantages of this. So you should be clear with that. Okay, I hope it has made the concept clear. Now here we come to an end of the chapter collection of data. I will try to give you the MCQs and the questions which are important later on in the later videos. But this video mainly explains all the major concepts which are there in your NCERT book. You can use these PPTs, these slides for preparing for your exams as I have tried to put everything in the points. So it will be easier to understand. So we will meet again in the next video. Please like, share and subscribe this my channel and keep learning. If you have any doubt, you can keep a comment in the comment box. Thank you.